This is Mountaineer Insider.
One of the most picturesque settings in all of college football brings us to the high country of Boone, North Carolina.
The App State Mountaineers are going dancing! Ball down, State puts it in the air. Got it! Got it! Got it!
To send the student section to its feet.
And now to your hosts, Dave Thomas and Matt Present.
Welcome back to the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline Sky Best and WATA. I'm Dave Thomas from Curtis Media Group in Boone, along with Matt Present, the radio play-by-play voice for the App State men's basketball team. And what a time to be a Mountaineer, knocking off number 6 Texas A&M. Some thought it couldn't happen, but it happened, and it happened quite well for Coach Clark and the Mountaineers on Saturday.
It sure did. It was domination really from start to finish. What a turnaround for the defense in particular to go from allowing 63 points to North Carolina to, really 7 if you don't count a special teams touchdown on Saturday in College Station. But you talk about the surprise factor. I'm not sure it's quite there as much anymore. Certainly there are folks that are surprised, but at the same time, you look at what this team has done of late. Yes, the Michigan game is the one people hold up there, but wins over North Carolina and South Carolina, overtime games against Tennessee and Penn State. This team has been knocking on that door for quite some time.
Two guys that aren't surprised are our guests today, Dashaun Davis and Jalen McLeod, from the offensive and defensive side of the football for the Mountaineers. I got a feeling they're going to talk about confidence. They're going to talk about the expectation of winning the football game, which they did.
Well, and there was a lot of pressure, right, coming off of the UNC game, because starting 0-2 against those two opponents, it's not a bad start, but it's a pressure-packed start to go 0-2 to begin a season. And to be able to turn it around in this fashion certainly bodes well moving forward.
I hope you'll enjoy this week's edition of the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline Sky Best and WATA. Welcome to the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline Sky Best and WATA. I'm Dave Thomas from Curtis Media Group in Boone, joined by Matt Present, the radio play-by-play voice for App State men's basketball. This segment is presented by 3333 LLC in support of App State student athletes. And our first guest, Dashaun Davis, offensive player, because I won't call you wide receiver because you do a little bit of everything, but let's go back to Saturday. The scoreboard hit 0. Who'd you hug first? What do you recall about that particular those first few seconds once the game is officially over?
I just soaked in the moment of like the opportunity that was presented to us, and then after that, I just went to go hug my teammates because that's what we did. Like we did it for each other. So yeah.
There were some App State fans down in College Station as well, and certainly you guys were playing in front of over 90,000 people there, but how cool is it? I saw a lot of pictures of guys jumping into the stands. How cool is it to share that moment with people who made that trip down?
Oh, it was amazing. Like, just to get that support all the way from North Carolina to Texas, and then just like hearing them the whole game cheering us on. So we just had to go like show love to them for supporting us. So, yeah, that was great.
Could you feel the tension getting thicker amongst their fans and even their team with a place that big, and they were expecting to blow you guys out, and all of a sudden this wasn't happening?
Yeah, like you could tell, like when we were making some plays, the crowd would get silent. So it really was like we had control of the game most of the game. So it was in our favor to pull through. I felt like for most of the game.
You talk about having control, and I think that's a great way to put it because you guys dominated time of possession. You ran twice as many plays as they did. How much was that a focal point going into the game of we want to keep our offense on the field as much as possible?
That's just going into the plan that Barbe put together, and then he always preaches on execution. So we always go out there like with the mentality that he has to execute every given play. Every play has an opportunity, and we just go out and play football for the most part. Yeah. Staying
on the field that long, though, especially for your offensive line, in that heat.
Yeah.
Now, talk about the heat. How much of a factor was that, and the rotation of trying to keep fresh bodies in? What was that process like?
We work hard over the summer. Like, we do a lot of good workouts to prepare us for moments like that, and that's just having a different mentality for the most part, like wanting it more than the next opponent. That's what we base it down to. So it don't matter if it's hot, cold, rain, sleet, snow, we coming to play football, like whatever. Yeah.
Talk to me about the mental adjustment. You guys are gearing up for week 1. You play a thrilling game, come up 2 points short against North Carolina. And you know you still have this next big challenge on the horizon. Take me through just the team's mentality transitioning from a really tough loss at home to still be able to have that 1-0 mentality a week later.
We take the games like week to week. We focus on the next opponent every Tuesday. So once the game is over with on that Saturday, we'll make corrections on Sunday, and then we'll focus on the next week. But it don't matter who we play, like, we trying to win. So regardless if we come up short or we win, we on to the next game, and it's just next game mentality for us.
Dashaun Davis is our guest, wide receiver, and does some running with the football as well for the App State Mountaineer offense. Now, you had a pivotal 3rd and 10 catch there late in the game that kept the drive alive for the game-winning field goal. Walk us through that play. Were you the target all along, or did they check down to you? And what do you recall about the moves you made after the fact?
So the play was going to me. Barbe called a good play where he disguised the running back to come out of the backfield, and then they dumped it down to me. I expected the defense to try to flow with the running back, and I slipped back under. And what I did after with the ball is just I felt the instinct to where I'm a set up the defender to make it think I'm going this way, and I just try to get the first, and I got the first down.
You mentioned Kevin Barbe, and Dave has talked about your ability to run with the football as well as catch it. He's really worked in a lot of RPO stuff. You've been involved in a lot of jet sweep action. I think there was even a play where Cam took a direct snap and then ended up flipping it to Chase, and he gave it to you. Like, what are all these wrinkles like in this new offense you guys are working with?
It's just getting different guys the ball in different spaces. Barbe does a great job trying to keep the defense off balance, so week to week they don't know what we're going to do because it's just different wrinkles and stuff week to week. So it's a good job to keep the defense off balance.
Is it fun? Is it challenging to keep up with all the motion in terms of working through learning plays and whatnot?
I feel like I just embrace the opportunity. It makes the game easier, and it makes like just the defense struggle to stop us on offense. So I love it, to be honest.
The ball's getting spread around. I mean, a number of running backs have handled the ball, a number of guys have caught passes. But coming into the season, there was some unknown about the wide receivers because you played behind some really good players the last few years. So what was the talk like amongst you guys about it's your time to step up? And then how did the guys that played before you leave an impression on you that you're playing with now?
Well, first, it's all about the element of surprise because you don't know what's going to happen. You feel me? So we heard the doubt going in towards the season. And we talked about it as a unit, and we was just like, we have to show up. Like, we know what's at stake this year. And playing behind those other veterans, learning the game from them, watching them play, it was just a good moment to just see them like what they did with the opportunity and what I could do as I keep working and keep progressing and keep learning the game. And when they came to the game in North Carolina, they were just like, man, I'm glad to see you out here doing what you've been working for. So it was just an amazing moment to learn and then be able to go out there and show what I could do.
Branching off of that, how do you stay patient behind those guys? Because, you know, with the transfer portal and just kind of the nature of college athletics in this day and age, I think there's a lot of people that when they come in, there's an expectation that they play right away. And it's not just for you guys as wide receivers. We've talked with offensive linemen. We've talked about this with defensive players as well. A lot of the guys that see playing time at App State don't start right away. So how do you stay patient through that and trust the fact that a year like this comes around for you?
You just got to be mentally tough. Like, even in life, I look at life with football and life situations. Everything is not just going to happen right away. Some things you just got to work for. So for years, I just been working on my craft and preparing my mind to where when I do get into that moment, I've been mentally prepared for it, and I mentally know I work for it to perform the way I perform. So it's just a grind process. You got to really want it to be able to perform how you want to in certain situations.
Anderson Hardy was here last week, and he said you have to be an app guy.
Yeah.
There's a toughness. There's a lot of things that make an app guy. Yeah. That grind is very much a part of that, though. And you look back to Coach Jimbo Fisher was talking about leading into the game. He was concerned about the experience of this team coming in. So that grind, speak to that, if you will, a little bit more about just how important it is to be an app guy and grind for what you get.
Even the young guys that we have on our team, like when they come in, they understand the culture. Like, everyone works hard and we push each other to a certain standard. And the old guys left that legacy to us, and we just carry that on with the next generation. So once the young guys come in and follow suit to what we trying to do and buy into the process, it all turns into a family. And then once we get on the field, we trying to go to war with whoever. So that's the mentality you got to have.
Getting into the fold this year and becoming a reliable weapon, talk to me about the process of working with Chase Bryce and building that chemistry to be on the same page where he can trust you to make any play in any situation.
We just go out there and play football. Sometimes I try to ask Chase, like, what do you think we could work on to better the offense or get better as a unit and stuff like that? And he just says, like, it just comes with the game, man. Like, you got to just keep grinding and everything's going to follow suit. So we just take what the defense gives us. We go with, we trust Barbay's plan, and then we just go out and execute. It's all about execution when we talking football. So, yeah.
Talking about Chase, we talked to him in the spring. We haven't talked to him since the season started. Yeah. So in a game like Saturday, he was kind of chill with us and just kind of laid back.
Yeah.
What's he like leading this team on the field?
He's always, like, laid back. We trust in Chase because he's the captain on the team. He's the quarterback. He's QB1. So we believe and trust in Chase and the decisions that he makes. He doesn't, like, seem rattled in certain situations. So when you go out there and you know that the quarterback is calm, like, now everybody else is on the same page with the quarterback because he's just, like, breezy. We call him Breeze. So he just, like, calm and collected. So he has everybody else calm.
Everybody stays calm. Stay calm Saturday at Texas A&M. We'll take a break. We'll come back and continue on with Dashaun Davis next. This is the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline Sky Best and WATA.
We are so glad to have you as a student at App State. When you come to college, whether you're coming from across the state or down the street, you bring with you distinct experiences, perspectives, and identities. It's up to us as your campus leaders to help foster safe and inclusive learning communities. Appalachian Advocates is a cohort of faculty and staff who have made a commitment to listen, learn, support, and advocate for members of our community from underrepresented identities. So whether you need help figuring out how to navigate a challenging situation in one of your classes, or you want a more formal mentorship, our Appalachian Advocates are here to guide and support you.
back on the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline, Sky Best, and WATA. I'm Dave Thomas, along with Matt Present. Dashaun Davis is our guest from App State football, coming off the big Texas A&M victory. Let's get to know you a little bit. When did App State come on your radar through the recruiting process? A lot of Florida kids playing here in Boone, so how much did you know about the Mountaineers prior to the recruiting process?
I didn't know anything about App State at the time. Going into my senior year, it was like I went to a football camp, and then I was doing good at the camp in NC State, and I met Frank Ponce there. And Frank Ponce loved the way I played football. I got to know him better, and he gave me an offer. I actually came up here to visit, fell in love with the place and all that stuff like that, and then I just committed on the spot. So going into my senior year, I was committed to App. Didn't really know too much about it, but I just felt the culture when I came and visited. So I was locked in ever since, yeah.
Describe that. Like, what stands out to you as someone who grows up in Florida about Boone, about the mountains, about the energy around this team? Like, how do you put into words what you latched onto?
Just walking the facility and seeing all the rings, and then learning about the tradition and stuff like that. And then I visited other places and stuff, and it seemed like everything was already, I don't know how to explain it, it just seemed like everything was already made, and App State really worked for certain things, like you could tell. So that's why I just got caught up in like App State and the tradition and how they explain their process and stuff, so yeah.
You've spoken about your grind and the hard work. Who influenced that hard work? Who instilled you to be the type of person and the type of player that you are?
Well, for one, my mom did. She worked overtime. She worked 2 jobs, so it was just like as a single mother. So she always wanted to see me excel in life and want to do better. And she always preached, you got to get a scholarship, you know, because to go to college and stuff like that. So I just worked hard to achieve that goal. And then my coach in high school, he didn't expect me to be like this. Like, he didn't expect this at first, like 9th and 10th grade. And then I kept working, and then he actually gave me the props and was just like, now you did what you worked for, now just keep going and keep manifesting everything that you asked for. And yeah, now I'm here today, yeah.
What is the biggest difference from the Dashaun Davis that started high school and your skill set then to the Dashaun Davis that earned an offer to App State? Where did you take that big jump?
I'll just say the mentality-wise. As I got older, I started to realize that it's not about me more. It's more about like the goal that I'm trying to achieve, and like it's all a growth process. Like when you're younger, you think of it from a selfish standpoint, but when you get older, you start to realize more of the whole situation, the whole standpoint. So it's just a growth process at the end of the day, yeah.
So in a setting like North Carolina 2 weeks ago here, Texas A&M last Saturday, that maturity, as you were talking about feeding off of Chase, allowed you to feed off of him, allowed you not to make it bigger than it really was?
Yeah, bigger than what it really was, because we always have practice situation where we do situational football, like 2 minutes, ended of the half, we got to score a touchdown. Or 2 minutes, we got to score a field goal. So it's always, we was put in situations to where we got in the game, we was ready for the opportunity. And then once the opportunity comes, you can't flinch, because you're only going to get one opportunity. So we just try to make the most of every situation, every play, and just play football. We got to spot the ball. Yeah. And
you made a big touchdown grab late in that UNC game, and that was a great catch. Take me through that play. What do you remember about the throw and kind of having to lay out to make sure you hauled it in?
Well, for one, I had to look who was guarding me. I had my eyes set on 3 the whole game. I felt like he was one of the top guys, top defenders, so I had to try to do him bad. So I ran the post. We usually don't throw the post. In practice, we try to hit another shot. But I got open, Chase threw the ball, and I made the catch. And Chase, after the play, was like, whoa, we never threw that. We never threw that. And then I was just happy, like, yeah, man, we executed. Good job. And, yeah, that's how that happened.
That pass has made its way around social media a lot. A lot of folks responding, talking about the throw, but definitely the catch as well. But speaking of social media, I noticed it didn't take very long for Dashaun Davis to put up a field shot on his Twitter account from Texas A&M. So talk about the celebration after the game. Let's come back to that a little bit. And just being out there, the stadium's emptying out except for the App fans, and you're just celebrating on somebody else's field.
It's amazing. It's an amazing experience just to win on the road, the environment, the adversity we had to face, and just like what it took to even get in this process. Like it's amazing. You got to cherish every moment. But winning was expected. Like we always expect to win. So when you go in there, you grind and you do win, come out with a victory. It's great. It's great to be 1-0. So.
You talk about overcoming adversity, and I'm not sure everyone realizes the adversity you guys had to overcome after the game was over. Some flight issues, you go back to the hotel. Just how do you get some sleep and not let that bog you down? And just what was that process like?
Some players mad, some players, have certain feelings about the situation, but it's all a process. As Clark says, you can't control what goes on after. So we just took for what it was, and then once we got back, and then the fans were still there trying to support us and stuff like that, we loved that for sure. So yeah, it was adversity, but at the end of the day, we got back safe and everything was straight.
A lot easier to handle that coming off a win, though.
Yeah, it wasn't the first time that happened, so it's just like we just had to get over it.
Well, and during that process where you guys are waiting on the tarmac, you get a really special announcement from Sean Clark that College Game Day is coming to Boone on Saturday. I mean, what was your reaction when you heard that? Did you imagine that something like that might happen?
I didn't even know, I was on the bus at the time, and then somebody came on the bus and said, yo, we got College Station coming to our game next week. And I was like, what? And then I'm just happy to be here, to be honest. Like, everything that comes to App State, we work for it. So when it does come, it's like we expect it. So it's just a great experience just to have them coming to the game, and then we're going to put on the show.
I know Saturdays you're normally getting ready for a game, but do you take time to watch College Game Day, any at all?
From time to time, but I really don't get caught up in it just because I got to focus on the game. I really watch film and stuff like that to make sure I'm on point. So when I go out there, I can perform how I want to. I don't really try to get caught up in the hype, because then you hear about we like this team, we like this team. So yeah, I try to stay away from that. Yeah.
You talk about watching film. What are some things that you, as primarily a slot receiver, but now a guy that's also, taking jet sweeps and running with the football, what are you kind of honing in on when you're watching film and preparing for your opponent?
I really watch my defender. I watch the person that I may be seeing for the whole game, see if he could guard me. I'll compare certain plays that we run and other teams run, what worked and what didn't work, leverages. I try to just pick apart every little thing, every little detail I can take away from another team and then apply it to our game and see how it'll work. Yeah.
So you're known for football, but according to your Twitter account, there's more to Dashaun Davis than football. I understand there's a clothing line, maybe some music involved. Tell us about you away from the football field. What are your interests and how are you pursuing those?
Well, I'm versatile. So I major in communication and minor in management. I have a clothing line called Cold Hearted Stepper. It's unisex, like I said, men and women clothes right now. So it's a business that's working up, getting started. I also do music, hip hop, versatile actually. But I just try to be an entrepreneur and stuff outside of football, because I know at first I wasn't on the radar, but now I'm building a little name. So I was always thinking, if football doesn't work or something happens in football, you got to have a backup plan. You got to be a businessman outside of it. So I'm just trying to use all my resources and just figure out what I really want to do outside of football.
What have you learned about yourself through the process of being an entrepreneur?
Like going back to what I said about growth, as you get older, you learn different things about yourself and you just want to become a better person. So just living life in the proof, in the flesh, and just trying to grow as a person. I just figure out new things every day, yeah.
And I'm sure football has influenced those aspects of your life, the things you've learned playing ball.
Definitely. Football is a good asset off the field and on the field, just because the way they coach or something like that, they'll coach hard, and then you apply it to life, and it's just like, it'll be hard in life a little bit, but you got to overcome adversity. So I just take that, what I learned on the football field, and into life. So.
Congratulations on the success thus far. Best of luck this week and best of health this year.
For sure.
Dashaun Davis, App State football. We'll take a break. We'll come back and continue on with the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline Sky Best and WATA.
To a place where you can grow.
A place to be heard.
And take a closer look.
A place where you can crush it.
And push yourself.
A place to find your voice.
This place rocks. And rolls.
A place where you can get out.
Wow! A place you'll never forget.
So where is this place? Let me show you.
Welcome back to the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline Sky Best and WATA. And when you knock off the number 6 team in the nation, there's always going to be excitement. There certainly was on Saturday in College Station. Let's take you back to the sights and sounds post-game after the Mountaineers win.
Well, young Michael Hughes, here's the biggest field goal attempt of your life. 29 yards, middle of the field, right to left. There's the snap, ball down. Hughes puts this one in the air, and he got it. Puts the Mountaineers in front 17-14 with 8:05 to play in the game. Here's the snap, ball down. Kick is away. No good. No good. Caden Davis misses from 48, and the Mountaineers retain the lead at 17-14 with 3:43 to play. Jumbo set. Bryce claps the hands, gives to Camp, starts up the middle, cuts out to the left, has room. Stay in bounds, Cam. There he goes, 45-50. Cam down the left side to the 35 and 30. High stepping to the 20, to the 15, to the 10. He's out of bounds, short of the end zone. They mark him out at the 12, but that's probably the best case scenario because the Mountaineers should be able to run out the clock and beat the 6th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies. 1:36 to go. Bryce hands off. Cam's got it. Got to hold on to the ball. Spins down at the 12. You hear the chants of "It's great to be a Mountaineer" coming from the end zone to our left. Again, this game is not over yet. App has 2nd down and 10 with 1:31 to play.
And give the Mountaineer faithful round of applause for Texas this weekend.
Great turnout.
Great turnout by the crowd to our left. And how fitting is it that the direction we're going right now, this last play is going to be on the end where the Mountaineer faithful are.
6th-year senior captain goes under center with the score 17-14. Bryce takes the snap, backs up, runs out the remaining seconds of the game.
And the Mountaineers just upset the number 6 team in the country, baby!
For the first time since 2007, App State has knocked off a top 10 football team. Today in College Station, the Mountaineers grab the attention of the college football nation again and beat the 6th-ranked Aggies 17-14.
I call game, baby! I call game! I call game! I do this! Let's go! Let's go! Look and go! That's how App State do it!
Hi, my name is Melissa Weddle, and I'm Department Chair of Recreation Management and Physical Education at Appalachian State University. We offer 2 degree-granting programs, one in Recreation Management with a focus in outdoor experiential education, recreation and park management, and commercial recreation and tourism. Our second degree-granting program in health, physical education, and coaching offers teacher certification for public schools in health and physical education. You can get a minor or certificate in coaching. We are the front porch to the Beaver College of Health Science, where our focus is on quality of life, wellness, and physical activity. We're located in the beautiful mountains of Boone, North Carolina, so come join us, check out our website, or take a class.
We are back on the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline, Sky Best, and WATA. I'm Dave Thomas from Curtis Media Group in Boone, along with Matt Present, the radio play-by-play voice for App State men's basketball. This segment presented by 3333 LLC in support of App State student athletes. Jalen McLeod is our guest, linebacker for the Mountaineers. Congratulations, first of all, on a huge win Saturday. What do you recall about the first few seconds once the game's over, the celebrations going on? What do you recall about that?
Yeah, actually, it was unreal. Like, it didn't settle in until after the game. Like, I didn't realize, like, we beat the number 16. It was big. And I see all the smiles. Everybody was happy. Some people would cry, but I held my composure until we got in the locker room, and it was up since then. Yeah.
Tell me about just the team's mindset. You guys are excited to start the season, obviously. You play UNC in what was just a tremendous game, but I'm sure very disappointing to come up just short at the end. And then you have to turn around, go to College Station, and face the number 6 team in the country. How do you stay level-headed and composed, not only personally but as a group, to kind of go through the excitement and disappointment so early and so suddenly in the season?
So week 1, after we lost to UNC, Coach Clark said that's behind us. It was the past. We tried our best. We gave all, and so we were just looking forward to putting our name back out there because people still doubt us. Like our defense, for example, they put up 60 points on us, and we was, for a defensive standpoint, we were so excited to put our name back out there. Let's say we was one of the best teams, not just offense but defensive wise. So we had a mindset. In practice, we was working hard. Like Tuesdays through Friday, we was just working. We was working so hard, and we believe. That's the number one thing we believe. Even though some people doubted us, but we was like Texas A&M was like a 20-point favorite, right? Mm-hmm. And we didn't mind that, and we just believe. That's where it all came from.
So this week of preparation defensively, was it, you feel like it was more scrutiny maybe than more so because you didn't have the outcome you wanted against Carolina?
Yes, it definitely was. And one thing we realized, we got to communicate better, and we had to be mature. We still, even though we got like older people, we still had young people playing. So we had to learn, we had to work together, we had to mature, we had to communicate, and that was the number one priority. And also effort, our motor. We had to run to the ball every play, and we talked about that. That was the key things to winning, beating Texas A&M. And we executed perfectly like that.
Obviously you guys made some big plays defensively, and we'll get to that and yours personally in a second, but for a defense playing in Texas in the heat, how important was it that the offense stayed on the field as much as they did?
Oh, we was excited. We were so happy. I feel bad for their defense. It was out there. We was only out there for 20 minutes. Or like 19.
Yeah.
And their defense was out there for 45, 40 minutes. It was like, we see the defense, Texas A&M defense tap gas, and we was happy. We like, offense, keep doing what y'all doing. Keep pounding that rock, keep doing everything y'all doing, and like, make sure we off the field. So that's why we commended, we appreciate the offense, because they protected the ball. That's the number one priority. Mm-hmm. So we was happy.
I know in a typical week, you hear the word hydrate a lot, really, from Wednesday on. But with so much time on the sideline to rest, was hydration even more of a factor in that heat? And talk about that heat a little bit.
For us, that's the hottest. I'm from up north, so that was the hottest I ever played. And trainers came around, made sure like every second they was coming around giving us water, make sure you hydrate. Even if we said no, they still put it on fit. You got to drink, you got to. And so hydration was the main priority also. So it was like, oh man. And they made sure we was hydrated. At dinner before the game, at breakfast before the game, they would make sure we hydrated. They would make sure, like that was They water at every table. Drip drop is a thing for hydration, and they made sure we drank it. They made sure.
All right, let's talk about the big plays you guys made, and you especially on defense. A couple of sacks, a forced fumble. I mean, just take me through that, because that fumble leads to your guys' first touchdown. You take the lead first. Texas A&M never led in the game. So when you think back to that play, what do you remember most?
My coach, Coach D-Bass, he always in my ear. He said he my conscience, make sure he my conscience. And he always told me, trust myself, believe. And so, because I have a hard time believing sometimes, because I'm not the biggest person, you know. He just told me, believe in your technique. So this, like, the preparation for me personally was technique. And my get off was good. And once I saw him overset me, I was like, oh, it's over for him. It's over for him. And then it happened. I just made sure my motor was going, my effort was there, and everything, and it was perfect. It was perfect.
App State linebacker Jalen McLeod is our guest, and I kind of think you got robbed on, you forced 2 fumbles essentially there, so I think they shaved you a stat line there. But just the celebration of that when you get back, was that a point in the game, as Matt said, you know, led to the first points, was that a point where you're like, okay, yeah, this is our game, we're dictating things now? Did you sort of feel a change, or did the belief grow?
It grew, like it definitely grew. Like once we did that, once I made that, I'm like, oh, they not really, okay, it's over. Like, okay, now it's like a shark smelling blood in the water. That's what it basically was, and we kept chopping wood. We kept the front 7, not just me, Nick Hampton. It was just the whole front 7. We kept chopping wood, and we just got there. We was creating pressure, creating havoc, and for the quarterback. Yeah.
Talk to me about what allowed you guys to have the success creating the pressure, because like you said, it wasn't just one guy. But even on plays that didn't result in sacks, I mean, there was a play I remember where their quarterback scrambled. He got taken down like a yard or 2 in front of the line of scrimmage, but it basically was a sack because you forced him to do something he didn't want to do. What allowed you guys to create that pressure and disruption?
First, like the front 7, well, the front 7. We try to get it's called a pass rush party. We all the whole front 7. We watch film, and we go over how we could communicate better, how we could work this tackle or this guard, how we could make him work, and we literally would sit on the sideline while offense is on the field. We'd sit on the sideline and go over the keys, like what you saw, what you seen, and we execute. Like we just keep going, and then we take the tips from the person that rushed them previously, and we just go with it.
That's interesting you bring that up, because a lot of times there's talk about linemen rotating in and out, and I would imagine to some extent linebackers, depending on the personnel on the field. So what is that communication like on the sidelines when you're coming on and someone else is coming off? Like, what are those tips and those exchanges like to kind of learn little things that might help you on a given play?
First, like, we had different personnel, like you said, and before we all go out there, we make sure we get the drawing board. We go right there. We go, okay, this guard did this tackle did that, and we gotta learn how to work around them, because they, you know, we all on the sides compared to Texas, you know. So we had to learn to work with our leverage. That was number one thing, leverage and hands, and we gotta make sure they didn't get their hands on us. And we preached that every time we came on and off, and we trust the person behind us, because there's no drop off. So when they come in, make sure you stay with the technique that the person did before you.
You use the word trust.
Yeah.
This coaching staff's gotten a tremendous amount of accolades, and all deserved for getting this win. But you had to trust that game plan. You had to buy into them from day one. If you spend a day or 2 during practice wobbling, it's going to take you a while to catch up. So tell us about this trust and the connection you have with your position coach, but also this staff as a whole.
First of all, my position coach, Coach D-Bass, he trusts me since day one, since I got here. So he always believed in me. Even when I had doubts by myself, he believed in me, and he just worked for me. Like, he told me, make sure I perfect one thing at a time. And because I used to come in here try to do different moves, but he said perfect one thing, and then he started to trust me once he saw the maturity. It's also growth. I had to grow as a person, and he trusted me, and he saw the growth that I was doing. And then as a coach, as a staff, the defensive staff, they trusted us. Even when we had a bad game against UNC, they still trusted us that the person that come in after the starter, they still want to trust them, and that put trust in the player. Once the coaches trust her, that's when we all played together as a unit, and then it plans out. Like we stay with the plan. We stay with the plan.
I got to go back to the celebration for a second. I think it was Hansky Palin had a giant golden plunger.
Oh.
What is the story behind that?
Basically, because Jordan Earl.
Mm-hmm.
So Jordan Earl, he's first of all, he's the biggest person on our defense, and he's the most important. So what he had to make sure the A gap is clogged, So he had to do, if he out his gap, it's a big run. But if he in his gap, we stuffing the run. It's all star with Jordan Earl. And what his motto is, I'm clogging holes. Cause like a plunger, and he the plunger, he gonna clog it up. And basically, we just ran with it. And Hank, and we all behind Earl because he the most important, and we just went with his motto, plunger.
Jordan was very successful all day Saturday, as was the entire defense and the entire Mountaineer team. We'll take a break. We'll come back and continue on the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline Sky Best and WATA. We're back on the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline Sky Best and WATA. I'm Dave Thomas, along with Matt Present. Spending some time with App State linebacker Jalen McLeod. So let's talk about the announcement College Game Day is coming to Boone. What was your reaction? And just talk about, do you watch that show at all? Do you follow it? I know you play on games, so do you?
Yeah, I play. When I was young, I used to watch it. So I was excited. First of all, I was excited because Boone is one of the biggest football towns in America, in college football, and it was just amazing. Now that's gonna put our name even more on the map. Once they see how big our fan base is, and how crazy we is about football, and it's gonna help improve the brand, the App State brand. So I was happy about that.
Describe the moment when Sean Clark announced that to the team. You guys are on the tarmac, awaiting a flight. You guys have some delays, and you get that announcement. What was that reaction?
That was probably the only good thing that came out of that. So we was a little upset, but we was happy. We all put smiles on our face, and we was still smiling. Even though we was delayed, we had to wait, we were still happy. You know, we saw something in the future that was gonna help better us, and it was just happy. We were just proud.
App State's known for its history and its tradition, as you talked about, spreading the brand more. Mm-hmm. You're now part of that history and tradition to help this brand to secure College Game Day for the first time. So as a team and as a player, this place obviously means a lot to you. Talk about what that means to you, that you're helping further the cause, so to speak.
It means a lot because the people that came before me, I had to see what they had to do to build the brand up. And I saw the fans behind us, even out the losses, and that just made me want to buy into it more. I want to help build the App State brand. I want to help do this, and I love the fans. The fans are the most important. They the reason we win. We got the best home record in all of college football. So I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be here. That's it.
You talk about the fans at Kid Brewer, and obviously they're outstanding. But what did it mean to you to have a good contingent of App State fans down with you at Texas A&M?
Oh, it was surprising. I was surprised because we scored. The stadium was loud. We like even the defense, like me and Nick Hampton was on the sideline. We heard the screams. We like that's our fans, right? Yeah. Like we sound like we at home a little bit. And it gave us an extra push. Like, they came all the way to come see us, so we got to win. We got to.
You've referenced a couple of times being undersized a little bit, and from charting it online, looks like you've gained about 10 pounds or so since you've been here.
Yeah.
For some folks, that's easy to do. Others, maybe not so much. Talk about your quest of bulking up and trying to get bigger to play the position.
First, it had to start with my meal planning. I had to eat about 4 times a day. So I had to eat 4 times a day, and I had to be consistent with it. Because you can eat 4 times a day, but you're not consistent with it, it don't matter. So I had to eat 4 times a day, 7 days a week. And Coach Brad, the strength coach, the head strength coach, he made sure he was on my back about like putting on good weight. So like he made sure like I put on weight slowly and good, made sure it wasn't fat, you know. So my nutrition was good. Megan helped me with that, and they just made sure it was good weight, and I could still have my speed, my agility, my change of direction at the weight I'm at now.
What are the foods that you guys hone in on when you're trying to create that meal plan that's going to allow you to still be fast, still be effective, and not, you know, feel like you're full and bloated, but you're still having to eat a lot? So, like, what are the foods that are most effective in doing that?
Most effective fruits. It don't matter what fruit, but because they all give you energy and they all make you feel good. Like, they don't make you feel bloated. It no matter how much you eat. Yeah, that's really it. Fruits. I say fruits. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier you're from the D.C. area. You're from north of here. So, when did App State football come on your radar? When did you know about the Mountaineers, and then when did you become really intrigued enough to make a commitment?
I actually been knew about the Mountaineers when they played Clemson. That's when I first saw them, when they played Clemson, and when I was at practice, they was recruiting one of my fellow teammates back from back home, and they seen me, and I was just quiet. I was just not going through the motions, but I was perfecting my craft, and they said, "Who's that guy?" And then so I got recruited. And I came down here for my visit, and then it took off. Like, it was just, I love it. Like, the fans, all that, everything.
What do you remember most about your high school career that prepared you to come play at App State, that made you a quote-unquote App guy that people talk about?
I would say my work ethic, because I was skinny in high school too, so I was like 190. And then they told me I was like, every time a recruiter came, they'd say I was too skinny or something like that. And my coach was like, what you gonna do to make sure they don't say that no more? So I was like, I'm gonna get better. So I got the 215 for my senior year. And then that's when my coaches saw how dedicated I was to go to college. And they made sure they put it like, they told that I was a good player. I had my head on my shoulders, and I was dedicated. That was the main reason when DJ, the old linebacker coach, he saw that I was dedicated because he saw the weight I put on. And it was good weight, and he saw that I was an App State guy.
Jalen McLeod's our guest, App State linebacker. On your Twitter account, the header there is a quote from Michael Jordan. Tell us about the quote and what that means to you, and how often you're referring to that through your daily grind.
Basically, it's talk about preparation. It's not, championship game is not won at that moment. It's run through the whole year. Even for example, App State, the Sun Belt Championship is not won during the season. It's won during spring camp. It's won during summer camp, and it's even one during after the season. So what you gonna do to help make sure your body is ready for what's going to like happen in the game. Make sure your head right. Make sure you mature. Make sure you eat right. Make sure you sleep right. It just show you that you had to be prepared. You had to be consistent about everything you do. So that's why I love that quote.
It makes a lot of sense because there's so many facets that go into your success on the field. And I would imagine part of it too is being able to kind of turn it off and do stuff away from football. So when football is not on your mind and you have a break from football in school, which I know is not a lot of time, but what is it that you enjoy doing away from it all?
You might laugh, but I like I like studying animals. That's been I love animals since I was younger. My father loved animals, and when I'm not doing nothing, when I'm not doing schoolwork, when I'm not doing football, I'm studying animals. I look at Animal Planet, stuff like that. That's my biggest hobby. I love animals.
Do you have a fun animal fact that you go to?
Fun animal fact. It's a lot of animal facts. Like you got to ask something like I don't know.
So you don't have a go-to then? You don't go into a room and go, hey, did you guys know?
Yeah, nah, not really, because some people don't want to hear that.
Right,
I mean,
is there a particular species, giraffes, elephants, or is it more reptiles, or it's all across the board?
It's all across the board. Yeah. But I gravitate more to mammals, because we are mammals, so I love studying mammals and stuff like that. Yeah.
Did the wildlife here in Boone, was that an attraction to you upon football, upon the education, that there are things here you can study, that you can't see back home, I'm sure. So was that an appealing facet to be able to come play here and study at App State?
It really wasn't. It was more the views. Like, they took us to the mountain, like the overtop, the oversea, and it was beautiful. So I was like, okay, that's something I love. And I actually seen a bear. I seen a black bear, yeah. And it was small though, so it wasn't scary.
Is the animal interest, is that something that's a hobby for you, or is that something that you're studying here as well?
No, it's a hobby. It's a hobby. I wish I studied it. When I first came here, I was just trying to find something that wasn't too hard, but I wish I would have went into something like that.
What are you studying in the classroom?
Public health. So I have a class called environmental health, so it helped save the earth and animals too, so that's kind of a plus about that class.
Yeah.
Now, in studying animals, you have to learn about animal instinct.
Yeah.
We're sitting here with you, casual conversation. Where's the switch for animal instinct on the field for Jalen McLeod? Describe your on-field persona if you can.
So I'm not gonna lie. The first play is always nerve. Like I'm not one of them. People say I'm 100% ready, but of course you got nerves. But that first play, once I get the feel for it, it kicks in. It kicks in. My effort, like that. That's where the motor come from. That killer instinct. You had to have that killer instinct, and that's when it clicks after the first play.
You talk about that first play. You talk about the fact that a Sun Belt championship is not won on one play or one game, but it's only game 3 of the season, and you start conference play this week against Troy. What is, if there's a key or there's something the coaches are kind of keying in on for you guys this week? I know you haven't completely broke them down yet in terms of X's and O's, but what's the big focal point heading into conference matchup number 1?
Same. Just play with that energy that we played with the first 2 games. Keep that energy throughout the whole season. And me and Nick, we talk a lot during the week. And our biggest thing, we got to feed off each other. That's what we said. We got to feed off each other. If they double teaming Nick, I got to come up free. I got to make sure I'm good and play with that motor. If they double teaming me, he got to. He gonna come out free. Nick is Nick, and that's no one thing. Cause we didn't discuss the game plan yet, but that's the number one thing between me and Nick and the whole defense. Play with that energy. Play with that energy.
Well, congratulations on a huge win, the success you've had thus far. Best of luck and best of health this year. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Jalen McLeod, linebacker for the App State Mountaineer football team. We'll take a break and we'll come back and wrap up the Mountaineer Insider for this week on Skyline, Sky Best, and WATA.
What brings us to mountains? Is it the possibilities that await us at the top? Are we looking forward to how the challenge will mold us, transform us? Maybe the mountain is inside all of us. After all, we are Mountaineers. Appalachian State University.
We are back wrapping up the Mountaineer Insider on Skyline, Sky Best, and WATA. Getting to know Dashaun Davis and Jalen McLeod, two guys we told you confidence they're going to have that. They expected to win the football game on Saturday, which they did.
No doubt. Confidence, but also level-headedness to be able to persevere a tough loss and then go and play in front of a big crowd against the number 6 team in the nation on national TV. But Dave, it wasn't just App State. The Sun Belt had a massive weekend. Marshall over Notre Dame, Georgia Southern taking down Nebraska, and Georgia State gave UNC a run for their money. This conference is legit, and conference play starts this weekend against Troy.
Yeah, a big one against Troy, and of course another reason why College Game Day is going to be in Boone this weekend, which is going to be a lot of fun because that's a circus all to its own. If you've never been around it, it's an experience you got to encounter. You got to be in Boone this Saturday.
The signs are awesome, but we talked about the brand of this program. If Lee Corso puts Yosef's head on his head, that will elevate the brand big time.
No doubt about it. We hope you enjoy getting to know our players and focusing on this football team. Again, 1-1, but we feel so much more coming for the Mountaineers and Coach Sean Clark this year. Once again, this has been Mountaineer Insider on Skyline, Sky Best, and WATA. He's Matt Present, the radio play-by-play voice for the App State men's basketball team. I'm Dave Thomas from Curtis Media Group. Thanks a lot for watching this week, and go Mountaineers.
My name is Allison Bennett-Dyke. I am the advisor for the Appalachian Student News Organization and the PO Literature and Arts Review at Appalachian State University, and I work in the Department of Communication. I would describe the community within the staff of the Appalachian as close-knit.
So each week something new will pop up. So we have our scheduled meetings. Big ones are on Thursday, and then we have some throughout the week. But breaking news is always popping up, and so that's going to be the most important thing to us at that time, is getting that up and it being accurate and correct. So you kind of have to put certain things on pause, and then like focus on those things. And then once that breaking news story is up, you can go back to your normal schedule. And you don't really know, like each week looks different because of that, and you don't know what's going to be happening in Boone or on campus, so you kind of have to just be ready.
So I think having that connection beyond just what they're working on is really helpful. And then just knowing they can collaborate and brainstorm on projects, and knowing that who has which expertise is really helpful as well.
I came to the newsroom, did my job, and left. And it wasn't until that spring semester of my freshman year where I started to make friends on the paper, and I was like, oh, okay, like this isn't just a job. This is, you know, something that I can really find friends in and collaborate with awesome people in.
I think the main role of a student media advisor, whether you're advising a newspaper or a radio station or a literature and arts review, whatever, is to really empower the students to try out new things and not just kind of stick with like the legacy way of operating. There's not major requirements, so anybody can walk in the door and join and say, oh, hey, I want to learn graphic design, I want to learn how to do audio. And they don't have to come in already knowing how to do all that. Like, we'll teach them how to do all that here.
So I feel like my biggest takeaway just from starting as a reporter and then going up from a reporter to ANC editor to managing editor has just been, I've realized how important the Appalachian is. There's just a lot of things that I don't think people know about that happen on campus, and you slowly start to like realize all of those things, and I feel like not as much information would be out to the public or like be as well known without the Appalachian, so I've really enjoyed being a part of that process.